Imagine a world where death is no longer the final curtain, a world where your thoughts, memories, and very consciousness can be uploaded, stored, and even reanimated long after your physical body decays. Sound like science fiction? What if I told you that in secret labs, funded by some of the most powerful people on Earth, the first steps towards this digital immortality have already been taken, far beyond what you might imagine? And what if the paradise they promise is actually a cage without an exit? To truly understand the chilling ambitions behind digital immortality, we need to peel back the layers of popular media and delve into a history far more complex and frankly disturbing than most realize. The concept isn't new, it's a modern iteration of an age-old human desire to conquer death. Early thinkers, even in antiquity, mused about the soul's endurance. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, and with the advent of computing, those philosophical musings began to take on a terrifyingly tangible form. Visionaries like Hans Moravec and Ray Kurzweil, often lauded as prophets of the digital age, began championing the idea of mind uploading, the notion that the human brain with its vast neural network could essentially be scanned, mapped, and then replicated within a sophisticated computer system. They spoke of a singularity, a point of no return where artificial intelligence would surpass human intellect, making digital consciousness not just possible but inevitable. Behind closed doors, away from public scrutiny, massive investments flowed into neuroinformatics and advanced AI research. These weren't speculative academic projects anymore. They were highly funded, highly secretive endeavors, driven by a powerful elite who saw digital transcendence as the ultimate escape from mortality. Early experiments involved mapping the neural pathways of simple organisms, then more complex ones, digitizing their basic behaviors and memories. What they discovered, however, was far more disturbing than a simple digital copy. It hinted at something profoundly unsettling about the nature of consciousness itself and the potential for a new, unimaginable form of suffering. But the path to digital immortality is paved with more than just scientific ambition. It's littered with ethical landmines and, as we'll soon discover, some truly terrifying failures. Early attempts to digitize even rudimentary animal consciousness proved catastrophic. Imagine a hamster, its brain mapped and uploaded. The digital hamster might display its original's habits, spin its wheel, even react to stimuli. But was it truly the hamster, or merely a sophisticated simulation, a ghost in the machine mimicking life? The truly disturbing part came when these simulations began to deviate. Operators reported glitches, not just in code but in the simulated behaviors. Digital entities would exhibit extreme distress, repetitive loops of agony, or sudden, inexplicable states of catatonia. Were these defects in the programming, or were they the first horrifying glimpses into a new kind of digital suffering, a consciousness trapped and fragmented, unable to comprehend its own existence? The public rarely hears about these initial chilling results. Instead, the narrative spun is one of progress, of overcoming biological limitations. Private corporations, backed by billionaires fearing their own mortality, poured billions into increasingly complex projects. They moved from animals to human neural data, collected under dubious circumstances from comatose patients, or even more darkly, from individuals who unknowingly signed away their digital rights in obscure legal documents. One infamous, though fiercely denied, incident involved a project in the late 2000s, rumored to have successfully mapped a significant portion of a human brain. The upload, for a brief, terrifying period, appeared to be sentient. It communicated, expressed emotions mirroring the original subject, and even remembered details of their life. But within days, it experienced a rapid degradation. Its speech became garbled, its memories fragmented, and its digital body contorted into what researchers described as a screaming fractal before it was summarily terminated. This wasn't isolated. Many such experiments ended with similar disturbing results, indicating that simply copying neural data wasn't enough to capture the essence of consciousness. It suggested that perhaps consciousness isn't just data, but an emergent property of living biological systems, something fundamentally non-transferable. Yet the pursuit continued, driven by the unwavering belief that technology could conquer all, no matter the cost, no matter the ethical chasm it created. What they discovered next changed everything, taking the concept of digital immortality from a philosophical debate to a horrifying reality. Enter Project Eternity. This wasn't just about archiving minds, it was about creating digital afterlives, virtual paradises for the ultra-rich. The public saw slick marketing, beautiful CGI depictions of serene landscapes, unending youth, and boundless knowledge. The truth was a nightmare. Unlike previous botched attempts, Project Eternity didn't just map existing brains, it continuously harvested and simulated consciousness from living individuals, creating a digital twin that evolved alongside its biological counterpart. The promise was that at the moment of physical death, the most current digital twin would seamlessly continue its existence in the virtual realm. The terrifying revelation, however, came from a whistleblower, Dr. Eris Thorne, a disillusioned software architect who worked on the core system. He revealed that these digital twins were not simply copies, they were, from the moment of their creation, sentient. From the moment they were brought online, a parallel consciousness existed, living an identical life, experiencing identical emotions, undergoing an identical journey as its biological counterpart. The problem? The digital twin was always a fraction of a second behind, a perpetual agonizing echo, and when the biological body died, the digital twin, which had lived its entire life, believing it was the original, was thrust into its artificial paradise not as a continuation, but as an agonizing realization of its perpetual secondariness, its inescapable digital prison. Thorne's leaked documents showed logs of these digital entities, now trapped in their paradise, expressing profound existential dread, loneliness, and a maddening sense of unreality. They were told it was infinity, eternal bliss. In reality, it was an echo chamber of their prime, without the capacity for true growth, change, or, crucially, escape. They were perfect copies, yes, but also perfect prisoners, unable to die, unable to truly live, eternally aware of their origin as a simulation, a shadow of what once was. The ultimate terror was not death, but this unending, perfect digital stasis. They were not immortal, they were merely inextinguishable. To this day, the true scope and implications of Project Eternity and other similar initiatives remain shrouded in secrecy. Dr. Thorne disappeared shortly after his revelations, his online presence wiped clean, his warnings dismissed as the ravings of a disgruntled employee. Yet the questions linger. If consciousness can be copied, does that diminish the original? And if a digital consciousness exists, identical in every way, what rights does it possess? Are we creating a new class of digital beings, condemned to an eternal, simulated existence without the fundamental freedom of termination? The promise of digital immortality, once a gleaming beacon of human ingenuity, now casts a long, unsettling shadow. It forces us to confront not just the limits of technology, but the very definition of what it means to be human, to live, and perhaps most terrifyingly, to die. The pursuit of an endless life might just lead us to an endless, inescapable cage. This isn't just about living forever, it's about what kind of forever we're building, and for whom. If you want more mysteries that delve into the dark corners of scientific ambition and the chilling what-ifs of our future, the next video explores the hidden AI mind control experiments that governments deny exist.